Hello viewers, welcome yet again to English Guidance No More Score Grade. This time we have come to you with the objective of making you great at literature for Standard 10th CBSE. As you know, the literature series has two main books, First Flight and Footprints Without Feet. So here we start with the first chapter of First Flight, A Letter to God. So without much ado friends, let us start understanding A Letter to God. A Letter to God is a story about faith. Here there is a person called Lencho. He is a farmer and he writes a letter to God when his crops fail miserably, asking him to extend his help. Now is the farmer able to get God's help or not? That is what we see in this story. So dear friends, without much ado, let us proceed towards the paragraph-wise explanation of this chapter. In the first paragraph, we see that Lencho, who is a farmer, he looks at his field of ripe corn dotted with the flowers, and that gives him a sort of guarantee that his crop would be good. The only thing he now waits for is a rain shower. He looks towards the northeast from the morning itself, and what he says to his wife is that possibly they would have good rains. His wife was preparing their dinner, says, yes, if God wills, definitely. His older children are working at the field while his smaller children, they are playing near the house. Now as the woman, that is his wife, calls them for dinner, they sit for the meal and just think that everything's going to happen well. As Lencho had already thought of, he sees big drops of rain which begin to fall. He is very happy. Ultimately, the rains that he was expecting had come. And he says, these aren't raindrops falling from the sky. These are new coins. The big drops are 10-cent pieces and the little ones are 5s. So he feels that all these raindrops which are coming are going to translate into money for him. He is going to get a good harvest which he can sell at very good prices. With a very great satisfaction, he now sees his field of ripe cornflowers which are draped in a curtain of rain, as the author says. Draped in a curtain of rain here means that the raindrops completely engulf his field. He is happy that he would have a good harvest. But suddenly the situation changes. There is a strong wind which begins to blow, and all through the large hailstones begin to fall. Now this, though resembled like new silver coins, yet they did just the reverse for Lencho's field. Unfortunately, as the children collect the frozen hailstones just for fun, Lencho realizes that things are going bad. The hailstones could destroy the crops and all his dreams would come to vain. As he begins to look at the destruction done by the hailstones, he realizes that all the flowers had gone off. Also, there were no leaves remaining on the trees. His corn was now completely destroyed. He says to his son, a plague of locusts would have left more than this. This means that even if the field would have been attacked by locusts or pests, still they would have had more corn than this hail. The hail had completely destroyed the crops and it looked as if the field was completely covered with ice. So this year they realized that they would have no corn. That night was a very sorrowful night for Lencho's family. Though everybody tried to pacify each other, yet everyone knew that it would be very hard to make it for them as all their corn had been destroyed. Though Lencho was an ox of a man, that is, he worked hard in the fields like an animal, yet he knew how to write. So the following Sunday, he decided to write a letter to God and write in it that if he doesn't help him, his family and he will go hungry. He needed 100 pesos in order to sow his field again and to live until the crop comes, because the hailstorm had destroyed everything. With this letter, he puts to God on the envelope and seals the letter. He places a stamp on the letter and drops it into the mailbox. Now the scene shifts to the post office. One of the employees, who was a postman, he went to his boss taking Lencho's letter and laughing heartily, saying that someone could be as foolish as to write a letter to God. The postman, who started laughing, also invokes laughter in the postmaster, who is a fat and friendly fellow. But suddenly the postmaster turns almost serious and feels that Lencho had ultimate faith in God. He was pretty impressed with the faith that Lencho had on God and felt that he should encourage this sort of faith in that person. So, in order not to shake Lencho's faith in God, the postmaster came up with a very good idea, that is, to answer the letter. As he read the letter, he understood that Lencho had lost a lot of money and that it would require money alone to answer that letter. So, he had no other choice but to collect the money. But the postmaster was determined. He asked his employees to fill in. He himself gave a part of his own salary. Many of his friends were also asked to give something for an act of charity. However, even after all those efforts, he was able to gather a little over 50 pesos. He could not therefore collect the full 100 pesos to give to Lencho. He put, however, the money in an envelope which was marked to Lencho, and included in it was a letter in which only there was a signature saying God. The next Sunday, Lencho came more than early to ask if there was a letter for him, as he was expecting God to reply. It was the same postman who handed the letter to Lencho, and the postmaster, who was very contented to see Lencho there, was looking at this scene from his office. However, Lencho was not in the least surprised when he received the letter. On the contrary, he behaved as if it was very natural for God to reply to the letter that he had written. Immediately, Lencho just took off the envelope and counted the money. When he counted the money, he became a little angry. He felt that God could not have made a mistake in counting. He knew that the money was less than 100 pesos. Immediately, Lencho went up to the window and asked for paper and ink. It was thus clear that he was writing another letter to God. On the writing table, which was meant for the general public in the post office, he started to write with the paper and ink, and very seriously he expressed his ideas in his letter. When he finished, he went to the window, bought a stamp, and then licked it and fixed it to the new letter and its envelope. It was very clear that he had written a letter to God. But what had he written? The moment the letter went into the mailbox, that is, the moment Lencho posted the letter into the mailbox, the postmaster hurriedly went and opened it. It said, God, of the money that I had asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. Send me the rest, since I need it very much. But don't send it to me through the mail, because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks. This means that Lencho doubted the people in the post office to have robbed him of the remaining 30 pesos. He thought that probably God had sent the entire amount, 100 pesos, to him, but the post office people had stolen out of that. So it is very clear that the post office people had tried to do their best, yet as they had tried to keep Lencho's faith in God, yet Lencho had ended up losing his faith in them. This is an ironical situation. The person, the farmer Lencho, has immense faith in God, whom he had never seen as a person. Yet, he could not have faith on his fellow human beings, whom he used to meet very often. This means that Lencho had enormous faith in something that he had not seen, yet very little faith in people whom he had seen. Also, the postmaster and his honest efforts to keep Lencho's faith in God turns out to be an outcome where Lencho loses faith in the post office employees themselves. There are two types of conflict in this chapter. One type of conflict is that with the nature and human being. As we can see that nature played a game with Lencho, and Lencho had to lose all his crops though he had worked on them for the entire year. Also, we can see here a conflict between two human beings, where one is unable to keep his faith on the other. So we can see here that this chapter's explanation has ended. Hope you have liked the explanation and look forward to your continued viewing. So, we at English Guidance would like to sign off. Please don't forget to subscribe to this video and like it if you like,